What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel. And I am back with yet another album review. Now, just a real quick note, a little health update of mine. So today I'm recording this, which was December 1st. Yesterday, November 30th, I suffered a sprained ankle. I had to actually go to urgent care. Thankfully, it's not broken. It was just a sprain. So I have to take medication as well as wear a brace on my left foot for a little while. I think the medication I'm supposed to take up to 10 days, so maybe by 2 weeks I'll be back to perfect walking. But luckily I can still walk, I have to walk a little awkwardly. So just a little health update for you guys. And also, for those who are saying get well soon, thank you very much, it means a lot. But let's get into this review. So this is my final review of the year. After this, no more reviews for the rest of the year until January. And I actually was recommended this one by a certain YouTuber by the name of Robo Reacts, a.k.a. Jake Robinson, who's actually kind of become a good friend of mine on Instagram and YouTube, and I am checking out his debut project. This is the debut album from Bleeder's Lament, POPULACE ARTIFICE. This is released independently, and it came out on November 29th, and yeah, this is basically Jake's solo project. It's a death metal band. Now, I would say solo project, however, he does have guest people on here, mainly two guys, and if anybody that has watched Robbo on YouTube, you would know that he is a big fan of Blood Red Throne, just like me. So much so to the point that on two songs, track number 1, Cannibal Night, and track number 5, Obscure Abyss, features drums from Freddie Balzo from Blood Red Throne. So why don't we go ahead and kick things off with Cannibal Night after like a little horror dialogue. Right off the rip, the guitar tone, I actually really like the guitar tone on this album. It's gritty and a little raw sounding, but still kind of sounds a little modern. And then it immediately goes into like a bolt thrower double time stomp. And I will say, Jake's vocals, he definitely is channeling a little bit of Mr. Hustler from Blood Red Throne. Like, I will say this album really pays homage to Blood Red Throne quite a good bit. And it's definitely apparent on this track because, you have Freddie on drums. But yeah, and then it goes right into, typical, death metal moments, like chugs, grooves, some breakdowns. Overall, not a bad start. And then, apart from Obscure Abyss, the rest of the album's drums are done by Robin Stone, formerly of the Amenta. So the following track, Hypocrite Masquerade, pretty much kind of sticks to a similar gear of Cannibal Night, where it's more groove-oriented, but it is still pretty riffy. There's even some D-beats that come in, a little bit of grindy D-beats a little bit. And there's even a lumbering groove to kind of give it a little bit of a hardcore vibe. And then the title track, this is where a new wrinkle kind of gets added, and that's more melodic riffs, kind of bordering on melodic death metal, similar to a band like Carcass, I would say. And there are some Carcass-esque moments kind of peppered in throughout the album. But here on the title track, you do get a really cool bass line, and then into thrashy death metal, very much in the vein of Blood Red Throne, as well as even bands like Vomitory, Cannibal Corpse, and Deicide, that classic old school death metal sound. But there's even some classic heavy metal nods kind of get thrown in here. And then of course it gets into double time, some blast beats come in. So overall, we're stepping things up little by little. And then we get into Congenital Malformation. This one really kind of goes for straight up chug and groove. There's some really cool double bass work on here, blast beats. There's even more thrashy machine gun riffs. Even the breakdown kind of reminds me of a Slayer breakdown a little bit. And then Obscure Abyss, this is really, I think, where the album, apart from the following track, does really take off and really explore a little bit more. bass line, and then it gets into like thrash and melodeath riffs, again, very much in the vein of Carcass. But of course, it still grooves hard as hell. And then I will say, right off the rip, the weakest track on the album is Legal Lobotomy. Like, it's the shortest track of the album at 2.5 minutes, and really, it just kind of chugs and grooves along. It doesn't really have a whole lot of variation, I will say, but it picks right back up with Population Plague. This, as well as the following track, Litany of Shattered Souls, both songs, I swear Jake had to have really been listening to a lot of Judas Priest in his meantime, because there's some like Judas Priest-esque riffs on both of these songs. Population Plague does have some like odd rhythms, but really cool melody, and then Litany of Shattered Dreams brings in blast beats, and it's overall an energetic, fun track. And then the closer, False Competence, almost sounds like he was taking Carcass and Blood Red Throne, combining them together. Like, you get the melodeath riffs, some thrash, blast beats, and tremolo riffs, which tremolo riffs didn't really show up much at all for me. Like, they were just used very sparingly until this final song, where it really comes out. And of course, grooves hard, and overall, pretty solid closer to this album. Now, of course, I do have my critiques and complaints about this album. First, at least until it gets, like, there are songs, like, I feel like the flow is kind of inconsistent. Like, there's, like, peaks and valleys on the album, and I will say about half of this album kind of sticks to one gear, which is just all about the chugs and the groove. Not really a whole lot else to it. It's like, yeah, you'll get some double time stuff here and there, and some thrash moments that pop up on half of these songs. I would say primarily 4 songs. All kind of sound interchangeable, I would say, like Cannibal Night, Hypocrite Masquerade, Legal Lobotomy, and even Congenital Malformation. Like, those songs kind of feel a little interchangeable. Like, they kind of follow a similar formula, which is, again, all about the chug and the groove. And yeah, a couple of them will show some lumbering grooves, or maybe even some D-beat stuff and double time. But again, they just feel interchangeable, whereas the rest of the album, I think, does better at adding more variation, like more thrash moments, some more melodeath riffs, even some classic metal pops up on here as well. So, yeah, it is a bit of an uneven album, and again, this is his first album he's done, Jake, that is, so I'll give him a break, because I actually did enjoy, especially the final 3 tracks, as well as Obscure Abyss and Populous Artifice, the title track. I thought those songs were pretty damn solid. The other 4 could have been worked on. Like, again, when it comes to death metal, I want to be able to hear more variation, not just chug and groove. Like, I want to also hear, like, triplet chugs. I want to hear some more thrashy moments. I want to hear more brutal moments, as well as melody, which you do get some of that on here, but I do wish there could have been more to, like, really accentuate the heaviness and the brutality on here, like adding in some solos, which I don't know, Jake, as a guitarist, like, he does know how to play some really cool riffs, but I would like to see if he can show off some lead chops, and as well as maybe the bass could have been up in the mix a little bit more to feel a little more present. But overall, for a first offering, this was still pretty solid. I will give this 3 out of 5. For Jake's first attempt, it's not bad. It's actually good. I just wish there could be even more variation than what we had, especially in the final 3 tracks. Like, those 3 songs, really strong. And then it's just inconsistent. But maybe if Jake gets the consistency right for a next album, I'm all for it. But of course, those are just my opinions. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And that's it for reviews this year, because now I gotta get started on my year-end list. I still gotta listen to some Immortal to get ready for that ranking in a few weeks, and a bunch of other stuff. So, anyways, thank you for watching. Keep your horns high and your dreams wet.
Thank you for your patronage.